Good evening, iRacers. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and our first broadcast of iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship. We are here on this Saturday evening from Monza GP circuit. I'm Lee Thompson, joined in the commentary booth on double duty tonight, cameras and commentating by Samuli Kumo. Evening, Samuli. This is going to be a good fun new series for us to cover this season. I think we've got a full grid, 3 splits I think there were for this strength of field race tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Lee, and it's basically double stint for both of us. I think we did cover the dinner with racers earlier today, and now we are finishing up the day with the Formula 3.5. I believe this is kind of only single-seater series that we cover on this channel. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a very good job. I hadn't really put that together, but at the minute, you're right. I don't think there's any other single-seaters that we're covering. It's all GT, MX-5, V8s. Though, actually tell a lie, syncing up with this first 3.5 broadcast, tonight we've actually are broadcasting the NTT IndyCar series as well for the first time. So that'll be at 10 o'clock GMT if anyone wants to check that out as well. But you're right, until today, yes, there haven't been any single-seaters for a little while regularly on Apex Racing TV, so that'll be good to see. This is certainly, for both of us, I think single-seaters is historically where we've tended to set ourselves with our driving.
Yep, I think both of us, we did our time in the Williams, and I'm guessing you also started with the Skippy, which is the basic B-class car, and then maybe Star Master, but these days it's just the Formula 3 and Formula 3.5 that is basically everyone is running these days.
Yeah, so it takes me back thinking about those old Skippy cars, but yeah, this Formula 3.5 car, everybody was waiting for it for such a long time. You know, it's really looked to be that stepping stone into the F1 car, of course, in the A-Class series, and of course the way the F1 stuff has kind of worked out has been a little bit weird with it kind of stepping back to the Williams rather than the newer, more complicated McLaren. Anyway, we are coming towards the end of this first qualifying session, and as Samuli has very kindly brought up for us, we can have a quick look at the current championship standings in the official series as of this moment. Of course, we don't know how people are looking with kind of participation so far, so maybe we've got some people in this race who aren't going to have even maybe competed yet, so they might jump all the way to the top. But we can see it's looking pretty tight at the top with Christoph and Francesco on even points, 204 points each. If we scroll down a little bit, we'll see the rest of the top 25 as well. And yeah, it's looking pretty packed for this first week, so it'll be interesting to see how that ebbs and flows through the season. I see our very own Johan Haaf near the bottom of that championship standing, somewhere around the 20th mark, driving for Apex Racing Team. So how are we looking in qualifying at the minute then? We have got Tim Delisle looking like he is top dog at the minute. He's got just over a 3/10 cushion over Suelio Almeida. So those two are at the top. Otherwise, it's looking very, very close in the rest of the field. I mean, Delil's got this 3/10 gap, and then really it's looking very, very tight, certainly from 5th back to sort of 9th position. You've got less than a 10th in that spot as we see Langer working his way through Ascari. Of course, lots of events in the F1 just last weekend in that corner that we saw at Monza.
Yeah, it was certainly a cause of controversy, and it has been referred to many times during our broadcast as well. As I believe we are done with the qualify and we are ready to go on the grid.
Excellent. So our starting grid for tonight then, yeah, Tim Delisle, as we said, taking that first position, 132.675. He's got a 3/10 cushion over Brazilian Suelio Almeida. Jose Langer then is in 3rd with Alexis Mataruco in 4th. Rob Burr in 5th with Marcel Fassbender in 6th. Stefan Herman in 7th with Luke Barton in 8th. Ronaldo Augusto in 9th with Jan Brezina in 10th. Michal Nosvak in 11th with Lubomir Moric in 12th. 13th then is Sergio Matches. 14th is Thomas Knoll. Thanks very much to Thomas from the community for getting this broadcast up and running. Jorge Montanez in 15th with Victor Rodriguez in 16th. Jorge Barrio in 17th with Edward Samborski in 18th. Erka Lindstrom in 19th with Christian Ortolo in 20th. 21st is Parik Gormand and 22nd Richard Keeley. And then bringing up the final spot, 23rd is Rafael Bonifacio. There's lots of names there for us to get used to this season, but I think we didn't do too bad for our first go.
Yeah, I think it's usually the first time is the difficult, but then you kind of get the hints from the drivers, and if any of you spectators watching the stream figure out some of the pronunciation that we are not doing correctly, please let us know. That just help us do a better job here at the commentary booth.
So 22 lap race here we can see in the top left hand corner for this first week at Monza GP. It's going to be tasty going down into the first chicane, I think. Let's see how the guys get off the line as the lights are preparing to come on. Tim Dalal on pole, Suela Almeida in second. Who is going to get the jump down to first turn? Lights turn green and they're away already in third position, looking like it's going to try and make a move on the leader. Second position gets an awful start, already down into fourth. Oh, a little bit of touching there. He has to back off as well. Dalal cleanly in. Then it's Langer. Then we got contact in the background. Cars taken to the escape road and Spinners in the background as well. And Spinners, further forward in the field as well. Real clumsy start to this race with that first chicane. And a couple of big losers in there. Almeida, our second position starter, was the worst of those. 22nd position now from second on the grid.
Yeah, small issues there on the first game, but no issues at all for our pole sitter, Tim Delis. He's not quite running away, but he has managed to avoid all the chaos in the first corner.
Yeah, absolutely. That clean launch off the line absolutely served him well. As you say, just got him completely out of trouble. It was a great start as well from Langer. We saw him jump second position early on, and it's looking like he's the only car in a position so far to challenge maybe Tim Delisle over the next couple of laps. Then we've got a little bit of a gap, 2.5 seconds then back to Alexis in third, and then Fassbender fourth and Barton fifth. So we've got a little bit of a grouping there as Fassbender tries to defend from Barton. Barton looks to go up the inside, but nothing happening this time by. That would have been very optimistic for lap one. Looking much busier though back in the pack, as we see Rodriguez defending hard from Knoll, but Thomas Knoll got the inside, is going to drive off that corner. Rodriguez just dropping back a little bit with that wide line through the Parabolica.
Also, that was Rob Orr coming in for the repairs. So that is currently, we have 4 drivers who have suffered damage in the
three wide in the background, Smooly. Oh, that looks messy behind. Are they going to sort themselves out? Oh, one car wisely, Lindstrom, sensible boy, takes to the escape road, does not fancy any part of that at all, and decides to just take the slowdown instead, which probably wasn't a bad shout. But it's looking, pretty busy back here as well with Ottorala and Novac, is it? Looking like they're going to be fighting hard into the Variante, but Ottorala, doesn't quite hold on to that position. Samborski then a little bit wide on exit. That's going to give Ottorala an opportunity to come back into position on the first of the Lesmos. And then second Lesmo's going to be tricky. Don't want to be side by side through second Lesmo, but very cautious on the inside. Gave lots of space. Not a bad shout at all from Ottorala there. And still side by side as they come back to Ascari again.
I'm really surprised like how much action there is with these cars. You usually don't expect so much.
Ooh, that was unfortunate from Samborski there. It seemed from my view that they managed to avoid contact. Maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like just that tighter line he had to take to avoid contact just caused that rear to step out. So that was unfortunate for the guys. That was a nice little battle there. Another battle here, back up the front, third and fourth position. Marcel Fassbender battling hard with Luke Barton, who's going to come out on top as they come into the first chicane. Or car behind as well, a little bit deep, but it turned out absolutely fine. Barton gets that position from Fassbender. Then it was Mauricio, who I thought maybe went in a tiny bit hot, was going to give a tag. Is Fassbender going to get a run? Yeah, here we go into the Variante. He might. Barton defends a little bit, but only to the middle of the track, almost touching wheels as they come in. And Barton so much later and braver on the brakes. I thought Fassbender had that move sealed up there smoothly, but no, Barton just later on the brakes and swept around the outside.
Yeah, Barton had just so much more confidence in the car and was able to just brake so much deeper. But I don't think Fassbender is going to give that up, and he's still sticking with it. 2 tenths, and I think if we go on board, he will try to make a move here on the inside. But on defense, inside line, forcing Fassbender on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Barton, like you say, sorry, Samuli defending on the inside of Fassbender, just having to back out of it in the end. What kind of a run is he going to get? It's not going to be enough to Parabolica, so Fassbender's going to have to be patient and wait for the next opportunity at the big stop at the first chicane. But from nowhere, Fassbender does get it done. I see him closing in the slipstream a little bit, but it just felt like he was so much later on the brakes there going to Parabolica. It really surprised me. Maybe it was the wide camera angle. Maybe he wasn't as far behind as it initially seemed. Barton comes straight back at him, and the whole time Maricha there trying to get himself involved. He's going to have a little look up the inside as Fassbender. Fassbender sweeps across to defend hard. Is he going to have stick the nose up of Barton? He is. Barton gives him tons of room on the inside, and sensible driving from Barton there to give the space, but it means he's still battling over that position. This is going to be a frantic race, I think, Samuli.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Tim Delis is enjoying it.
Very lucky there from Maricha. He was done well to be able to back out of that, and he's got a car on his left as well. We see the front wing and the wheels suddenly appear, and up ahead, one of them spun up the rear wheels coming off that corner as well. It must have been Barton, I think, that had a bad exit and gifted the position back to Fassbender. But yeah, we don't know where to look. I'm looking at the timing screen. I'm just seeing a big chunk of yellow of small intervals between all of this midfield that we're seeing at the minute, all the way from 4th back to 9th position. Looking very busy the whole time. Brezina having a little bit of a look up the inside of a scurry, but that's a tough place to get up the inside of someone. You've already got to be alongside really before the corner. In the background, we can see Macias here having to defend as well from Thomas. Noel is looking to make a move around the outside of a Parabolica.
Yeah, I think like we have the 60 Audi TCR race with 60 cars on the weekend on Thursday, but I think these guys with the 20 cars are providing even more action here. As much as goes for it.
Oof. Yeah, Macias, as you say, defending very early, pushing Noel straight to the outside. Not looking like there's really much overspeed now. It's alongside though, so he's managed to hold on to that spot on the track for now. Noel squeezes a little bit on the inside curb. Oh, contact further ahead then that we're seeing Brezina is falling backwards, unfortunately. But yeah, good driving from Noel and Macias to get through that first chicane cleanly. And now we're seeing Augusto under lots of pressure from Macias and Herman.
Wide.
Oh, so tight as they came through. Noel is in fact.
And we have problem for Fassbender.
And Fassbender as well. Every time we look somewhere, there's a new change of position. Fassbender, yeah, losing out at some point through that chicane. There was it contact. We're about to see in the replay.
Yeah, I believe he might have just run wide on the braking.
Barton's far enough back. Oh, is Barton going to outbrake himself? Oh, here he comes, Barton from nowhere. Going to give him a tag. It definitely is. At the start of that replay, I thought it was just going to be Fassbender making a mistake on his own. Barton looked so far back. He had such a speed difference coming into the Variante there that, yeah, just misjudged his braking, unfortunately.
Yeah, Fassbender was kind of lucky there to not get perched on the really high sausage curve there, because you could see like how high those are relative to the ride height of these Formula 3.5 cars.
Yeah, really did give the car a good whack. Of course, we saw that again in real life in Formula 2 or Formula 3, I forget which it was, on a horrible curb that they removed on the exit of a Parabolica. Right, so Macias defending again from Augusto. Augusto's got the overlap on the approach, but how late is Macias on the brakes? Quite late is the answer. Augusto looks pretty cautious on the entry. Oh, tries to give it a big pile of right foot on the exit, but spins up the rears. He's going to lose 2 positions as a result. Yeah, Thomas Noel there in the blue-yellow livery, not the red livery that I was calling out a minute ago. Yeah, making his way by. And Noel just defending a little bit on the approach to Variante there from Augusto behind as well.
It seems like the draft is really high on this car or the setup that they're running. Because even if Augusto, he really fell back with that small wheel spin, but was able to instantly pick it up as soon as I got in the draft of Noel.
Yeah, and down the start-finish straight, I feel like we're really seeing that where they use the draft, pull up alongside really easy, and then they almost just stay side by side down the rest of the straight as, like I say, all of that draft, all of that slipstream evaporates away, and they just hit that ultimate speed that their aero settings allow us. Oh, Herman a little bit wide on the exit of the Ascari there over the artificial grass that manages to survive. Right, since we have just a slight moment to gather our thoughts, let's have a quick look at the top 10 for a second. Tim Delisle is still out in the lead, 1.14 seconds ahead of Jose Langer, who is still in that second position after that good start from the grid. Langer is keeping Delisle honest, but these two have just scampered away from the rest of the field, as basically the rest of the field have squabbled the whole race, haven't they? These two have had a clean race as far as we've seen, and that meant everyone else has dropped back 10 seconds. So Luke Barton then in third, 10 seconds back, as I say. Alexis Maturuko in fourth, Sergio Macias in fifth, with Thomas Knoll in sixth, Stefan Herman in seventh, with Ronaldo Augusto in eighth, Jorge Barrio in ninth, and then Marcel Fassbender rounds out the top 10. Out of curiosity as well, our second position starter, who I said had an instance at the first lap, Almeida, he retired, so he is no longer in the session, or he's just in pit lane, one of the two.
Yeah, right now, here's the second. Oh, Boric taking a lot of curb there. And might have just damaged the car.
Yeah, that's enough, he decides. Whether that was damage from that impact, whether he had already damaged before, well, it definitely looked like damage for Augusto. You can see the tyre tracks leading him straight into the barriers. For sure, he is going to be struggling with that car as it bounces over the gravel. Augusto was running pretty strong. He was, what, 6th position, I think? So, as a shame for him, back down into 14th position now, battling with Lindstrom as they come towards the Ascari.
Yeah, Augusto just taking a small peek there. It doesn't seem like he has any damage, so let's see, is the wheel straight? Ooh. Well, I think that answers it.
Speed. Yeah, look very, very quick on the exit in the Ascari there, just breezes straight past Lindstrom, and yeah, gains his position back up into 13th. Looking very, very close on the timing screen, Samuli, between Fassbender and Ottorala. There we go. See them change positions as they come over the start-finish line. So Ottorala takes that position before they even get into the braking zone. Fassbender going to get it stopped sensibly. He is nice and clean for both of them into the first chicane.
But I think like here, Fassbender can maybe try to reel in into the chicane. But I don't think he's quite close enough. That's only 3/10, but still not quite close enough to make a move here.
The back of these cars are gorgeous looking as well, with the big long exhaust sticking out the rear of the cars. A nice shot from the nose there of Marcel Fassbender. He's going to be under pressure very, very quickly now from Novak. Having a little sneaky look on the approach to Lesmo 2, but that was just a distraction tactic, really. I think you're never going to really stick your nose up the inside there, but here he comes now, approaching for the outside of Ascari. Fassbender really way, way over to the inside of the track and just lets him by, in fact. So maybe Fassbender's nursing a little bit of damage now, perhaps, possibly, because he's falling down the order. He was comfortably in the top 10 not very long ago, and now we see him down in that 11th place, and yeah, he's dropping back pretty quickly.
Yeah, I can see there is some damage to the right side of his front wing, so that is definitely going to affect his top line speed. As I also see Erkka Lindström has just made a pit stop, so I guess that might also be some front wing damage, because it was only 11-second pits, and I don't think these guys need any fuel, so that's definitely swapping the front wing.
Yeah, it was Lindstrom we saw that got breezed past by Augusto, wasn't it? So yeah, that shows that. You're right, Lindstrom, I think probably some front wing damage that hopefully is cleaned up now. Battle for the back of the top 10 between Ottorala and Novak. Novak trying to stick his nose up the inside of the Curva, but into the Variante, side by side as they come through. Ottorala backs out of the second part of chicane, or sorry, Novak rather backs out of the second part of chicane, and Overala manages to hold on to that position for now, but goes wide on Lesmo 1. Lucky not to end up in the gravel properly there, gathers it back up. Cleaner on Lesmo 2, so perhaps he'll be safe now as they come to towards Ascari. But that draft we can already see is so powerful, like you said, Samuli.
It's really closing in, but
Not quite enough.
it seems like he just hangs back a little bit, maybe waiting for a better opportunity here on the main straight or the back straight.
I think the wheel rims of Mihan Novac there, I think a certain Peter Berryman would be proud of, with the bright purple glaring out from the side of the car as they're side by side again as they come towards the Parabolica. Novac trying to sweep round the outside. He's going to run a little bit wider than he planned, and so Ottarolla now should get the drive off the corner, but again tucking straight back into the slipstream is Novac.
He has the overspeed and is able to just about complete the pass, but I think Ottarolla will be challenging on the braking zone.
Ooh, so Novac gets that position back. Ottarolla slots in for now, so keeps ebbing and flowing between these guys. All it takes is a little error here and there, and the position can swing one way or the other.
And meanwhile, behind them we see Paspeter slowly falling back, so that front wing damage is definitely affecting his speed.
Yeah, he's managing to hang on for now onto the two cars in front. He's not really dropped back from that 10th position, but like you say, we can see the damage on the right-hand side front wing there, and for sure that is not going to be helping his cause in any way.
No, and he has to be aware of Augusto, who is actually rapidly approaching from behind, running about second lap faster. And he also has a front wing damage.
Not quite as severe maybe. As you said, last lap, nearly second and a half quicker than Fassbender ahead. How do their lap times compare to the guys ahead though? Yeah, they're both a bit off the pace, and maybe it shows that Damage is struggling. The sharp end of the top 10 are lapping in the 34s, and they're in the 35s and 36s. So yeah, both looks like they are really limping around and just need to survive now for the second half of the race, as we are halfway through lap 11 out of 22 for this one. Thomas Knoll under pressure from Stefan Herman.
Actually, I think he just made the pass on turn 1.
And we shall see it on replay now, beautifully provided by Samuli. Yeah, Thomas Knoll with that slipstream dives out onto the inside just before the braking zone. How much of a fight does Herman put up? He has kind of a little think about it initially, and then backs out of the turn-in on the first part of chicane. So nice clean move from Nolan in the background. Herman into the wall.
And that might be race over.
Yeah, I think it might have just been on the grass on the exit. I don't think it was contact from Barrio behind, but again, let's have a look as they come through the second variante now. Oh, he outbrakes himself into the first part of chicane. Is he just going to get on the gas too hard now? There we go. And actually avoided the wall. Just barely avoided the wall, so maybe he escapes with no further damage. But yeah, just overcooked it on the brakes going in, and out of frustration, maybe too much of the right foot on exit. Still in the bottom of the top 10, so he only lost the one spot there to Barrio. He's under pressure straight away from Novac.
Yeah, Novac is quickly approaching him. That's about he's gaining tenths on every single straight. Whereas Ottarolla seems to be now unable to keep up with that, really.
And so, looking at the timing screen, the race has just calmed down a touch now from the frantic racing we saw in the first half. Just seeing this one battle really as our closest grouping of cars between the recovering Stefan Herman and Mihan Novac, who is looking to grab that 8th position. Let's see how much he closes on the approach to second variante. He really does in this last phase, but lifts the throttle really early. So Novac is happy just to sit there, it seems. He not interested in closing any further. We can hear the revs drop off way before the braking zone, so he is just comfortable following this half second back from Herman for now, and maybe looking to just pick up any scraps as they are presented to him through the rest of the race.
Yeah, it seems that he might be just looking for a place to make a move. Because of course you want to make an overtake and then immediately get passed on the next straight.
And just a little bit of understeer, I think, on the first part of Ascari there as well. We saw him struggle to get into the corner as Herman ahead runs out over that AstroTurf on exit again. How much slipstream are we going to get coming to the Parabolica? Again, we lift super early, like 250 meters before the corner. Is he going to give it a good go down the front straight, or is it just going to be more taking our time and being happy sat in this position? Let's have a look as we see him coming up above 270 kilometers an hour. He's trying to stay in the slipstream, so perhaps we are going to have a move here into the first variante. Here we go. Novak finally looking to make this move on the outside position. Who's going to be latest and bravest on the brakes? Herman tries to hang in there. Novak, great job given the space on the first part of chicane. Drives off the corner, lovely. Nice position gained. Like you said, Smooly, he was just being patient, waiting for the real clean opportunity that he knew he would be able to make stick.
Yeah, but right away Herman is fighting back.
And Herman trying to do exactly the same again. Hang on to that inside line. Both get a good drive off the corner. I think Herman might just be able to sweep around the outside on the first Lesmo. No, he decides to back out of it. And the rear just gets away from him on exit. Little touch of the wall, I think, at the end as well. But should scamper away relatively pain-free. Yeah, that run from the first variante to the second variante, Samuli, keeps catching me out. I keep looking at it and going, oh yeah, that position's safe, they've got that. And by the time they get to the braking zone, they're really right back in it. So that does seem to be a real clear opportunity to snatch that position back a second time.
Yeah, considering the amount of draft that you can get these cars, I think you definitely want to completely complete the pass here on the turn 1. You don't want to go side by side there, because then even if you are passed on the corner exit, there's not enough gap to really protect you when you come to the next chicane, the first chicane there.
And that looked like a nice clean pass down the front straight there from Sergio Matches, moving himself up into 4th position. I think Maturuko must have had an issue on that lap, because I wasn't seeing them really close together in the timing screen on the last lap, and all of a sudden Matches has managed to get that position. So a little bit of grass on the entry as well to the second variante there for Marcius, but he gets away with it, it seems, gets it slowed down. We see Thomas Knoll in the background with Barrio as well, trying to claw their way up into this top 5 position, but they're just 3 seconds back. And now with the laps ticking away down to, we've got 8 laps remaining now, it's going to be tough for those guys to pull themselves forward.
Yeah, just comparing the lap times. Yeah, it seemed like Macias was slowly catching up to Mataruso constantly. There was not a huge difference, but I mean, few tenths here and there every single lap.
No, like you say, it doesn't look like there was. Yeah, it doesn't look like there was a particular event, was there? So half second gained on that last lap, but yeah, nothing really that stands out as a big error from Muratuev. So good job. Fastest lap for the race so far for Tim Delisle, up in that first position. Samuli switches to that camera as if he reads my mind that I was about to talk to him there. And actually, just behind still keeping him honest, is Jose Lange, with just 100th slower that last time by. So very close between the two of them. And Langer has absolutely stayed in the window, ready to pick up any little scraps that are left by an error from Delisle. And I have to say, I love the classic West McLaren livery that Langer is running on that car there as well. That takes me back to seeing many an F1 race in those colours. But we'll see if he can keep pressuring Delisle through the last part of the race now.
Yeah, these two guys are just in the league of their own, really. No one else is running in 1:33s except them. Luke Barton on the second place. His fastest lap is 1:34.0, whereas these guys are lapping the mid-33s constantly. So I think the race between the win is going to be between these two guys, unless something happens.
And you say they're in a league of their own. I think their iRacing suggests something pretty similar as well. 6,000 iRacing plus, right at the top end of the strength of field here in this race. Who's who's running the highest iRacing. Yeah, it is in fact Delisle, just scraping it a touch from Sergio Matches down in 4th position. So as you say, 16 plus seconds these guys ahead of the rest of the field. Just yeah, found it pretty easy, it seems like, from the outside view. So let's have a quick think about the positions of the top 10 again. We have had a few changes in the last 8 laps or so. So Tim Delisle and Jose Langer, as we see here, in 1 and 2. Then we've got Luke Barton in 3rd with Sergio Machis in 4th. Alexis Maturuco in 5th with Thomas Knoll in 6th. Jorge Barrio, who we're on board with now, in 7th with Michal Novac in 8th. Christian Ottarala in 9th. And then a recovering Ronaldo Augusto in that 10th position, trying to make up positions from his earlier mistake and a little bit of damage. From the lap times, though, doesn't look like he's going to make much more progress. He's pretty even with the cars ahead of him.
Yeah, I think right now the close battle that we really have is between Augusto and Herman, as Herman is running a bit wide on here on the exit.
Yeah, so let's have a look and see how these guys are managing to cope with these super high speeds here at the classic Monza circuit. Of course, what a fantastic venue it is, as we see them going underneath the old banking as well for the old circuit. As they head into Ascari now, just down a couple of gears. Need to be careful of the sausage curbs that you can see on the edges of the normal rumble strip curbs there through the first apexes, but allow the car to run wide out almost to the AstroTurf on exit. Stefan Herman now tucked right in that slipstream, gaming on Augusto as they head into the Parabolica, and that super almost never-ending turn of Parabolica, running it right out to the edge of the track, was Herman there as well. And we see he just lost a couple of attempts or so through the Parabolica there.
And behind them there's another small battle between
Oh, there was.
Oh, that was...
Not anymore. Keely viciously into the wall there. He can count his lucky stars that he's playing a simulator and wasn't out driving that McLaren liveried car for real. A little bit too much curb on the first part maybe, but otherwise it's looking clean. And then just loses it on kind of, as he goes over the final apex, car just unsettles a little bit and he spends a little bit of time trying to correct it. And ultimately just it snaps so many spears into that barrier. Herman got ahead of Augusto as we've been away, so he got that move done into the first chicane, I dare say, and they work their way through now the second Lesmo, and Augusto is going to be trying to get that position back.
Yeah, here's actually the pass, so Herman got a good run, goes on the outside, and is he just able to overtake? Yes,
simple.
just on the entry.
Yeah, it looked pretty calm and collected, that one. Augusto didn't make up too much of a fight on the brakes, but he's sticking with him now in the slipstream, trying to get back that coveted top 10 position. And yeah, right under his gearbox as they come into the Parabolica. Can he keep that position as they work their way through and really make use of the slipstream? Then down into the first variante. Here we are from the gearbox of Stefan Herman with the heat of the exhaust distorting the air as it comes out and past. Here comes Augusto. Which way is he going to have to go? He has to go to the outside as Herman defends tightly on the inside. How late and brave are they on the brakes this time? Augusto late on the brakes, but ends up not being able to take the apex, and Herman defends that position pretty comfortably in the end.
Yeah, Augusto didn't get the perfect run out of here, so I don't think he's close enough to challenge here in the chicane, but still able to hang on to it, so I think we will see this battle going on all the way through the rest of the race.
Yeah, it's going to keep our interest, I think, as we work our way through. As I say, the rest of the field now really have just spread apart a little bit. The closest only other battle that I'm seeing is Thomas Knoll, just a second ahead of Jorge Barrio for 6th and 7th position. So it's worth us keeping half an eye on that. But otherwise, as we're watching, it's all about Herman and Ottarala for that top 10 position as Herman tries to break the toe as they work their way towards Ascari.
Yeah, just looking at the map, it has kind of spread out all over right now. Augusto falling back ever so slightly here. But again, as soon as the drafts kick in, he will start to close in.
And so those are two leaders we can see on the track map just in a league of their own. There are a whole third of a circuit practically ahead of third position and the rest of the field. But Langer still just trying to keep Tim Delisle honest, but he has lost a little bit of time since we last checked in, down to 3 seconds back now. So Tim Delisle is looking more and more comfortable for that victory, as Augusto still trying to scrabble back onto the gearbox of Stefan Hermann. Looked fairly clean through the chicane there, but he's got a fair bit more work to do if he wants to grab that final 10th position.
Yes, and I just noticed that he received damage on the front wing, and that is really hurting his straight line speed. On the main straight, instead of catching up, he was actually falling back, even in the draft. So this might be the race over for Augusto here.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like we can see him closing almost just even through the Lesmo. So he's got the corner speed perhaps, and certainly isn't falling back through there. But as you say, if in the slipstream he's not able to gain, then there's not going to be much he can do other than hope for an error from Hermann.
Yeah, as soon as we hit the higher speed, it just the gap just starts open up constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have seen a fair few cars pick up little bits of front wing damage here and there, as further back in the field we see Rob Bohr pressuring Rodriguez now as they come out the second Lesmo. Bohr almost into the rear wing of Rodriguez there as he comes off of the second Lesmo, but cleanly passed before they get to Ascari. And Bohr in the very artistic striped liveried car, now up into that 13th position.
And in fact, Rodriguez also with the front wing damage.
So I
let's
wonder
just
how
take
much
a
of
look
this
at the
is...
top speeds.
So we can see who's had the clean races, really, can't we? The 296s and 297s looking pretty comfortable, whereas a few of the guys stuck in the 80s. So yeah, that really does show that they have been struggling through a large portion of this race. Wonder how many of these front wing damage we're seeing is from just like curb strikes, and how much of it is from actual incidents. We've seen a few incidents for sure, but there's a lot of front wing damage out there. So I wonder if they're struggling over these chicanes and the cars maybe just being a bit sensitive to those impacts.
I believe it's mostly the chicanes, because we see it seems to be on the right side. So there is definitely some curve that everyone is kind of running over, and it's causing some damage. As Samborski now makes the pass on Rodriguez.
Yeah, nice clean move into the second Variante. And say Rodriguez, really falling back now, suffering with that front wing damage. The battle between Hermann and Otterolla has cooled off, just for everyone's information as well, down to a 1.5 second gap now, as we're on the penultimate lap. Not long left in this race for anyone to make up any further positions, and without a mistake, it looks like not really there's going to be much of an opportunity for anybody else. Augusto still putting in personal best lap time as we see it flash up on the timing tower there, so he's still pushing hard as the fuel is draining away. He's just eking out that last little bit out of that damaged car, but not quite enough, it seems, with that 1.5 second gap there to Hermann.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like... Well, he is keeping up, but it's 1.5 seconds and 2 laps to go, so we'll see. At this current rate, it's gonna be a real challenge for him to catch up and get the top 10 finish. But you never know, like, seeing how easily these cars have been getting the front wing damage, it could just be small touch for Hermann on the curb, and that could change it completely. As we see, Tim Delis starting his final lap.
Yeah, we've not seen... Oh, there we go. Perfect timing. I was about to say we've not seen him put a foot wrong all race, and he leaves a couple of black lines on the exit of the first chicane there, but it looked like well under control even so. Langer has recovered another 0.5 second since I last looked. He's 2.5 seconds back now instead of 3 as he had dropped back to. But yeah, let's watch Delisle for a couple of corners now, as we've just seen him be under control from the qualifying session, taking pole position. We saw him get a lovely clean start off the line, kept himself out of trouble. If he'd have got bogged down, he could well have got tangled up with the instance that we saw involving a second position at Almeida. And from then, he's just looked like he has had this race well and truly in his grasp the whole way through. Coming through Ascari now. He's just going to have one corner to go of the Parabolica.
Yeah, still keeping it clean. It's always so easy to lose the concentration on the last lap, especially if you are in such a clear part of a track and there's no one there. But you just have to keep the concentration up, not start thinking about that you have won the race yet. But here we go. Tindelisle, final corner, coming on the main straight. And takes the win here on the Formula 3.5.
So yeah, congratulations to Tim there. So Jose Langer kept him honest the whole race long, but ultimately had nothing for him to challenge for that win. Second position, Luke Barton is going to be coming home across in third position as he comes off of the Parabolica down this infamous front straight, takes that final podium position, and he made a couple of positions from the start. He qualified 8th place, so he gained 5 spots. So cracking job from Barton to stay out of trouble at the start, and then get a really clean rest of the race in to hold on to that podium spot. And Stefan Hermann does indeed keep hold of that final position in the top 10. Augusto ultimately couldn't quite drag himself back to that fight with the damage he was suffering, and has to settle for that 11th place. But again, saw a PB on the last lap for him again, so he was still pushing hard right to the very end.
I believe Victor Rodriguez is the last car on the track, so once he crosses the line we can go over the final results.
And just while waiting for that, as any drivers do want to jump into our Discord channel for a quick interview, they can do. We've got 10-15 minutes left until we're going to be looking to wrap up. Discord link is in chat. Oh, except I didn't paste on mine, so Samuli might need to paste it into chat for me. It logged me out as I sent the message. And we'll try and get a couple of interviews in, but so we've just got 10-15 minutes or so available for that.
Okay, the link is in the chat.
Thank you, sir. Right, so now that all the cars have crossed the line, we will be ready to bring up the final results. And so for this week 1 first broadcast of the season of the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, Tim Delisle took a dominant lead, 2.2 seconds in the end from Jose Langer, but these two look 20 seconds plus ahead of in third position Luke Barton. Sergio Marches then in 4th with Alexis Maturuco in 5th, Thomas Knoll in 6th with Jorge Barrio in 7th, Mihad Novac in 8th with Christian Ottorala in 9th, Stefan Hermann in 10th with Ronaldo Augusto in 11th, Marcel Fassbender in 12th with Rob Burr in 13th, Edward Samborski in 14th with Victor Rodriguez, the last of the runners on the lead lap in 15th. 16th then was Rafael Bonifacio, 17th with Perek Gourmand, 18th was Erka Lindstrom, Richard Kiley in 19th. We saw that vicious impact from Kiley close to close to the end. Lubomir Moric in 20th with Jan Brezina in 21st. Jorge Montanez then in 2nd, and the car that started on the front row 2nd position, Suela Almeida, finishes last and in 23rd position after getting caught up in those incidents at the start. So looks like we got nobody looking for an interview quite yet. So if you come into the Discord channel, jump into the interview waiting area, then we'll be able to drag you across once we have an appropriate moment. But as we were saying, Samuli, first race that we've seen from these guys for the season, first single-seater race that we've seen on Apex Racing TV for quite some time. That was a cracking one to start us off. Bring more of it on, please, Hank.
Certainly, that looks like a lot of fun, and I think it kind of makes me want to try this car, because
yeah,
I tested it when it came out, but it was kind of challenging, so we'll see. It seems like, I believe this is the new tire model as well. if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
But
not sure.
Not sure, but it seems to produce a great racing here. I believe we do have Thomas Knoll for the interview.
Excellent. What a perfect choice for our first interview of the season. So we'll drag Thomas in to the commentator channel. Evening, Thomas. Congratulations on your sixth position finish. First week at Monza. How's it been out there for you?
Hello, thanks first of all, and yeah, it was a great race for me. Sixth place with number 17 car. I think it's a good result for me. And yeah, thanks to the community to make this happen, the broadcast for the whole season for 2019. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to next week to Catalonia because the field was very, very strong. And yeah, I think we had 70 registered persons. So yeah, great community.
Yeah, it certainly looked like a strong time slot out there. Yeah, 3 splits, wasn't there, as you say? So 70 odd cars. Good turnout. As you say, great for the community to be able to come together and get a broadcast organised. Obviously, special mention for Thomas as well for being the organiser and getting all of the preparations ready to make sure we could get this broadcast out here for you. We're just watching your opening lap, Thomas. It looked a bit scary going through the first chicane on lap 1 there. You can see all the carnage ahead of you unfolding. You somehow managed to pick your way through.
Yeah, the first chicane is always very scary at Monza. Did some races before, and always it's a carnage at turn 1. Make it through somehow on the right side on the second apex. So I was lucky to have no damage, no contact. So and then concentrate on the race and on good lap times, and I think it worked well.
Me and Samuli were just trying to get our brains into gear a second ago. Can you which time model are these cars running on? Is it the new 7 time model?
The new time model, I didn't race it now on the F3, so yeah, let's see if we get it next season, and yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so these cars are on the old one still. Okay, so that is good to know.
It's the old one
for the season. Yeah, we were unsure just at the end of the broadcast as we were thinking about it there. You say next week is going to be Catalonia. Obviously, very different circuit for these guys from the long straights of Monza. Another classic traditional F1 circuit. It's going to be ideally suited to these cars, and I bet you're looking forward to that race as well.
Yes, I raced it in week 13. There was a community race on week 13, and it's a great track, Barcelona, and I enjoyed it very much. And I think it matched to the Formula 3.5. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week.
Excellent. Well, we are looking forward to it as well. We thoroughly enjoyed commentating on that race. We were just saying before you came in that that's the first race, single-seater race we've had on the channel for quite some time, and it was a great one to start us off. So that was a lot of fun indeed. So thank you again, Thomas. We shall catch up with you again next week, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Excellent. So Thomas Knoll there finishing in that 6th position. Big shout out to Thomas for getting the community organised for providing this broadcast for the series. We got another driver rocked up in the interview waiting area, so we shall drag him in as well and have a quick word. And then so we got just a couple of minutes then before the stream will be wrapping up from there. Hello, sir. Welcome to the commentary booth. Because your name is not your driver name in Discord, I do not know who you are. So this is going to be a nice surprise for the viewers.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I'll definitely change it for next time. But this is Rafael Bonifacio, number 20 on this race.
Hi, Rafael. So how was your race out there today at the historic Monza track? P16, I believe. So maybe slightly eventful for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not a good race as expected, and fortunately, I could not make a qualifying lap time, so it made me start in the last position. And after the incident on turn 1, I tried to avoid, and apparently I was just looking at the replay. I think the driver Sueli Almeida, he made contact to me, and unfortunately that damaged my side skirt on the car. And as we know, on this car, it was really dependent on this downforce, and so that basically it was about like a second or a second and a half slower than the supposed pace. So that just did not bring any good results for the race, but I kept to survive on the track, and I was able to make the P16.
Yeah, as you say, key thing of just keeping it consistent then through the rest of the race and being able to survive and pick up those scraps. You talk about the damage that you had on the car. We were commenting about the amount of front wing damage that we're seeing on the cars out there today. Have you been finding in practice that you've been getting front wing damage, just from curb strikes, is it?
No, none really. At least I saw I had a damage on the front wing. Not from the practices. At least I do not hit the curbs as hard as some other drivers, and not noticing that on the practices. I just noticed watching the replays from the damage in the T1. I had this front wing damage and also the side skirt. And I think even though after making the pit stop and replacing the front wing, the side skirt, unfortunately, it's not something you can change in the race. So I think that was what really affected me.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, great to speak to you, Rafael. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week and maybe getting a cleaner start to your race so that you can push forward then through the rest of it. Do you want to give a shout out to your team or anything before you go?
Yeah, sure. Well, at least thank you so much, Lee and Tex and Willie, and everyone is watching. And as of right now, I don't really have any team representing me, hopefully soon. So just like to thank everyone that watched it and joined the stream.
Well, great. Well, hopefully you have a strong season on Apex Racing TV, and then maybe you'll get some teams sniffing around Rafael. So that will be that'll be good to see as we progress through the season. So thanks again. We shall see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, great. So that is going to time ourselves very nicely indeed with those two interviews, finishing up our week 1 broadcast. As we heard, it's going to be Circuit de Catalunya next week. I have only driven Catalunya so far when I was at the Expo Samuli trying out the TCR car, as were you. That's going to be a fun race for these guys, though. I think it's so another big traditional F1 circuit. Give them some space to stretch their legs, I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how does it suit the car. There is some high curbs right at the end on the last chicane, so we'll see if that is going to cause any issues there. But yeah, I think for me as well, I only drove it at the Expo, so I think I might need to do some practice laps just to get the feel for the corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's lots of medium speed corners on that circuit, isn't it? A couple of quick ones as well. So I think the downforce for these guys are going to work out very nicely. Probably only 2 overtake opportunities really, I'd say. Obviously, first one down into turn 1, but there's not much of a braking zone there. And then the second one is out of the back of the circuit before the big stop at the hairpin before you kind of into like the final complex. So yeah, maybe 2 overtaking opportunities, but plenty of space for these guys to have fun and to really make use of the downforce in these cars, I think. Right, so that will be us wrapping up our broadcast for tonight. And thanks for tuning in to Apex Racing TV. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, please do subscribe to us on YouTube and click on the bell icon as well to make sure you get notifications of when we go live. We also stream everything at the same time on Facebook, so maybe that's how you're watching us now. So again, you can like our page on Facebook and also our channel on Twitch as well. So thank you to Samuli Kumo doing the unenviable task of having to do double duty of cameras and commentary at the same time. I've been Lee Thompson, and we shall see you again next week.